The Parliament not only performs legislative or law-making functions, but it also has certain financial functions that it needs to perform. Certain financial powers, like the passing of the budget, are under the purview of the Parliament. Now you might ask, why are these financial powers, such as the passing of the budget, important? It is because without the passing of the budget, the executive cannot spend any money of the government on anything. And you obviously know that nothing in this world works without the inflow and the outflow of money. So you understand that without the passing of the budget or without these financial functions, the country will stop to exist and function properly. Now that we've understood why these financial powers are important, let us get into the details. It is said that who holds the purse holds the power. In case of money bills, the Lok Sabha has all the powers. So what are money bills? Money bills are certain financial bills that deal with things such as taxes, expenditure, etc. For example, if the executive wants to present a bill regarding the imposition of a new tax and it has to be passed by the Parliament, then such a bill is known as a money bill. As we said, that the Lok Sabha has all the powers regarding the money bills, and Rajya Sabha has only an advisory role. So money bills can be introduced only in the Lok Sabha. When the money bill is passed from the Lok Sabha to the Rajya Sabha has the chance to accept the money bill and pass it to the President, or if it doesn't agree with the money bill, then the Rajya Sabha can give its recommendations to the bill and pass it back to the Lok Sabha. But this has to be done within 14 days. The Lok Sabha has the power to decide whether it wants to accept these recommendations or reject these recommendations altogether. So after this, if the Lok Sabha again sends the bill to the Rajya Sabha has no power to withhold the bill anymore, and it has to send it to the President. Even if the Rajya Sabha does not send it to the President and a time period of 14 days pass, then the bill is considered to have been passed by both the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. So as you can see here, the Lok Sabha has the main power regarding the money bills, and the Rajya Sabha only has limited powers to make recommendations or an advisory role. The Parliament is just like a strict parent. You want to borrow money, you have to ask the Parliament first. It is the supreme authority. If the executive wants any money of the government, it has to first ask the Parliament, and the Parliament has to send its approval for the money to be given to the executive. Just like every family makes a budget plan every year to understand how much money they are getting via their salaries and how much money they can spend or will spend in the year, similarly, the government prepares a budget annually, which is known as the annual budget. The annual budget allows the government to assess how much money they can receive, which is their receipts, and how much they can spend, that is their expenditure. So, through budgeting, the government manages its money, or basically the annual budget is a tool for money management. The annual financial statement of the government is prepared by the cabinet, and it is presented in the Lok Sabha by the Union Finance Minister during the beginning of the budget session with the prior permission of the President of India. The budget requires the approval of the Parliament, and the Parliament has the power to accept the budget or to reject the budget or to vote a cut in it. That is, it can reduce the budget. The budget is prepared for a period of one financial year. Like the normal year begins on the 1st of January and ends on the 31st of December, the financial year begins on the 1st of April and ends on the 31st of March. Once the budget is approved, funds from the National Treasury are given out or granted to the ministries and the institutions of the government. Also, just like when your parents feel that the money they are receiving via their salaries and other money inflows is not enough, they might think of doing an extra part-time job or earning money in some other way. Similarly, when the government feels like it needs more revenue, it might increase a tax or impose a new tax. These new taxes that have to be imposed also have to be presented to the Lok Sabha and have to be passed by both houses of the parliament, and the assent of the president is needed. Imagine that your pocket money is 200 rupees. Your parents have given you 200 rupees and you have spent it for buying books. Now the price of books have increased and you realize that to buy your favorite book you need 50 more rupees. What do? You have to go back to your parents and ask for an extra 50 rupees. Similarly, the government also in the middle of the year might realize that its expenditure is exceeding its budget. So, it might make a fresh new demand to the parliament in the form of supplementary grants. So, during the course of the year, the government and the ministries can request for additional funds or supplementary demands through the supplementary grants. The passing of the supplementary grant through the supplementary budget follows the same process as the passing of the annual budget. Just like we have our bank accounts, the Consolidated Fund of India is the bank account of the Government of India. The revenue that the nation gets in the form of taxes are directed to the Consolidated Fund of India. Also, the expenditures that are made by the government are mostly done from this fund itself. So, it is like a bank account, isn't it? The Consolidated Fund of India includes two types of expenditures. So, the first one is expenditure made from the fund or votable expenditures. This is the actual budget of the government. This is the money that government uses for spending. They are presented before the Lok Sabha and they can be discussed and voted on in the parliament. So since the parliament has the right to discuss, debate and vote on the expenditures that are listed under this type of expenditure, they are known as votable expenditures. The second one is expenditure charged upon the fund or charged expenditures. These are non-votable expenditures. They can be presented in the Lok Sabha, can be discussed in the Lok Sabha, but cannot be voted on. Now, do you know where the salaries of the President, the Chief Justice of India, the Speaker of Lok Sabha, Deputy Chairman of the Rajya Sabha and the judges of Supreme Court and High Court come from? They come from the charged expenditures. So, the salaries of these high government officials are guaranteed by the government, and so they are non-votable or charged expenditures. Similarly, the salaries and allowances of the members of parliament are decided by the parliament itself. The ministers and the members of parliament often periodically pass laws in order to revise their salaries. Do you know on which date the annual budget is presented? It is presented at the beginning of the budget session, which runs from February to May. So, the annual budget is presented on the 1st of February. Do you also know when the financial year begins? As we discussed, it begins on the 1st of April. So, the new financial year begins from April. Now there are different parties that wish to form the government, and these different parties have different priorities. Now let us assume there are two parties, Party A and Party B. The different parties that wish to form the government have different priorities. Let's assume that Party A wants to use its money on science, technology and development, while Party B wants to create or improve the rural sector and give social benefits to the rural people. So these two parties will spend their money or will create the budget in a way that is corresponding to its priorities. So, since the budget plan of these two parties are going to be different, let's assume that Party A wants to impose new taxes and more taxes, while Party B does not wish to impose a new tax. Now, the general elections are held in the month of May. So, the annual budget is presented in February and the new government comes to power in May. And we've seen that Party A and Party B might have different preferences and priorities. So does it make sense to create a new budget in February when you are unsure which party might come to power in the month of May? No. But the Constitution of India says that no money can be withdrawn from the Consolidated Fund of India or the National Treasury until and unless a proper budget is passed. So, what does the party in power do in such a situation? Does it not spend any money during these 2 months? No. So, what happens? Let us see. We know that general elections are held after every 5 years. So, the party in power at the end months of its 5-year tenure doesn't present an annual budget but presents a temporary budget which is known as the interim budget. This interim budget, when passed, allows the executive to draw money from the Consolidated Fund of India for a period of 2 months until the new budget is passed. This is done because there is uncertainty of which party might come to power in the next term. It has become a custom now for every government to pass a vote on account or a vote on account budget, which is the interim budget or the temporary budget. So, the parliament through the vote on account authorizes the executive to draw funds from the consolidated fund until the new budget is passed by the parliament. Thus, for the last 2 months, there can be a vote on account or a vote on account budget which allows the executive to get money from the Consolidated Fund of India and to spend in its different avenues. Other than this reason, the vote on account can also be passed to meet the short-term expenditures for the last few months before a new annual budget is presented. So we've learned about the financial powers of the parliament, which includes the money bill, the budget, the Consolidated Fund of India, supplementary grant or supplementary budget, and the vote of account. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app to get access to all our 5,000 plus amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million+ questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock tests. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it is rewarding too. So register for free now.